I would like to introduce my group members. So my name is Vanchai. I'm from Practicum province.
My name is Sarun. I'm from Practicum province.
My name is Tina. I come from Phnom.
My name is Soksuthip. I come from Mandal province.
My name is Seprasad. I come from Bachelor province.
And today this is the great time of my group showing about experience related to teaching practicum and also whatever I studied in the year 4, such as the 5 subjects. So now we will mention about 5 points. So the first one is introduction, will be responsible by Mr. Secretary. So the second point is lesson plan, will be responsible by Mr. Pontinas. So for the third point is classroom management, will be responsible by Mr. Soksuthip. For the fourth point is methodology, will be responsible by Mr. Seprasad. So for the last one is conclusion, will be responsible by me in my time. So now I would like to invite Mr. Saksaran to mention about introduction.
Okay, so once again, I would like to say high respect to all the supervisor and examiner and then also all the audience for your presence today. So I will start with the present introduction. So in year 4, and we have learned like 2 terms. In year 4, like we have learned 5 subjects. So the first one, teaching methodology, and the second one is applied linguistics. The third is foundation of education. The fourth is translation and interpreting, and the last is research methodology. So I will go one by one. So in teaching methodology, I have learned with lecturer that he taught us about teaching methodology. So what is teaching methodology? So teaching methodology we have learned such as like a lesson plan, classroom management, and also like some method about technique how to teach to the student. So in this one, as we are student in year 4, 2 terms that we learn in year 4 about this subject, so about lesson plan. So it is not easy. Like the first time you learn with this subject, it means that we do not know what is lesson plan. So when we come to study and learn it with this subject, it means we're starting to know about what is so classroom management. So classroom management also we do not know, as we are a teacher, like we are a student, and when we learn to become a teacher, so we should know about classroom management. We have to know about how to use the whiteboard. We need to know how to manage the chair. We have to know how to prepare ourselves and the classroom environment. Also, as we are a teacher, we have to know, we have to learn the technique how to teach to the student the approach. So we have to learn, we have to have many techniques that we can use to teach to our students. So this is about teaching methodology. So go to the next, applied linguistics. So for applied linguistics, what is applied linguistics? So in this subject, I have learned a lot as like language learning, teaching, and different approach in language teaching. So in this also like we learn about the language. What is language? So it means like we learn the way how to teach to the student, the way how to pass or how to help the student to know well in our teaching. And the different approach, it means the different approach in language teaching, also like a style of teaching, and some of the technique that we use to teach our students. So we learn about the skill about this one. And go to next, like a foundation of education. So what is a foundation of education? So kind of education. So for this one, like before, what I have learned from this subject, it means like have learned, there are many skill like skill and attitude. Also the form of education, like we learn like there are three. One we call for this foundation of education. And go to the translation and interpreting. So what is translation? So in this subject, we have learned from lecturer Philip that he's a good lecturer, and he also taught us many things about the translation and interpreting. So the question is like, what is translation? So translation refers to the language, like we translate from one language to the second language, or we can say like from the soft target to the hard target. So also about what is interpreting? So interpreting refer to the oral translate or oral interpret, like we translate from the speaker to the audience, to the audience. Like we are interpreter, so we transfer. We have translate from the speaker and to the audience. So as we are a translator, it's not easy. So we require to know more word, vocab, and also we have to know the purpose of the speaker. Because if you want to be a good interpreter, you have to know about like what is the purpose of the speaker that want to do the training, that want to do the meeting today. So in order to help you as a translator to translate well to the audience, or pass well, bring the correct meaning to the audience. So as you are a translator, you need to know about the purpose, about what the speaker of interpreting, like the role as an interpreter. So we have like a liaison interpreting, and commutiness interpreting, whisper interpreting, relay interpreting. This is the role of kind of the interpreting. Let's go to the next. So research methodology. What is research methodology? So as we have learned from the two terms in you doing the research to get more information in order to complete our teaching practicum. So we try to do the research in order to get the information in order to complete our practicum. And what are the kind of research? So research, we have two kinds of research. One we call primary data, and two is secondary data. Yes. So go to the next. So as we are a student that we just finished teaching practicum, so the objective of teaching practicum, one is to put training into real practice. So for this one, before we have a chance to be a trainee, that we start to teach in teaching practicum, so we do not know, we feel like we are nothing. So when we start, when the school prepare and give us a chance to do teaching practicum, it means we have chance to show, to teach, to get more skill, to get more experience. So I can say that to put training into real practice, so this is challenge for us as we are training. So we learn a lot from this one. It means that my experience. So it means that the first time I feel like I do not know the way how to teach. So when I become a teacher, I teach in the teaching practicum. I feel like a little bit nervous, and also I feel like I do not know the way how to control the student at that time. But when I start teaching, like from maybe 15 minutes, then I feel like more confident, and I know like I can do it, I can control, I can manage. Yes. So number two, to become accustomed to teaching in real classroom setting. So this one also not easy. As you are a teacher, so when you teach, like you have many students in class, and first time for you to teach. So how do you feel? You might feel scared. You might feel not confident. You might feel maybe nervous. So it's not easy to see many people, many students that come from different areas and different phases. And as you are a teacher, you might first time you might feel not easy and you might feel nervous. But after we do after we teach for a few minutes, and then we feel we can control ourselves, feel confident, more confident, and get more more experience with that. Yes. And the last is about to develop and expand as trainee teaching expertise and confidence. For this, the last one, it is also for me, I get a lot of knowledge, I get a lot of experience from teaching. So when I involved with the teaching practicum, I learn about the way how to teach. I learn the way how to control. I learn the way how to prepare lesson plan. I know the way how to solve the problem with the student, and also I gain more confidence with while I'm teaching. So this is also very good for us as a trainee. So we have chance to be a teaching practicum. So we need to learn more. Actually, that teaching practicum is not it's not the first step for us, but we have more things that we need to learn, not just only at that time and then finish. So we have more time that we can learn to develop ourselves, develop more skill, develop more technique, develop more capacity in order to be a good teacher. So you need to have a good knowledge of this. So I would like to say thanks to the school that gave us a chance to have to teach in the teaching practicum. So that's why without that I do not know about how to teach, how to solve problems, how to manage classroom, how to prepare the lesson plan, and how to overcome my nervous. So through this I can know about I gain more skill. I can know the way how to solve that problem. So I would like to say thank you to the school, and I would like the school to keep teaching practicum for the next generation. So yeah, so my present is finished, and I would like to pass this opportunity to my group member, Mr. Tina, will continue with the lesson plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my group member. It's inviting me to elaborate about my point. So first of all, before I start the presentation, I would like to show my high respect to my director, dean, examiner, supervisor, and also the audience who joined here. So now, please enjoy with me about my point is lesson plan. The first point is what is lesson plan, and the second one, why do we need lesson plan? So I'm going to detail each point. So what is a plan? Is the plan or map that we set before teaching, and we can say the teacher's detailed description of the course book or of instruction. So the second one, why do we need lesson plan? Because the lesson plan can guide us to teach smoothly or fluently, and also can let us avoid mistakes during we are teaching. And if we want to teach in stand-up, we have to use lesson plan. So it's very important for the teacher teach the student. Okay, the next point. Oh my, what happened? I did not see my point. Sorry. Oh, it. So this is kind of lesson plan. Have two main points, such as presentation, practice, production. And second point is practice, review, skill or lesson. So the presentation, practice, production, it means the teacher teach the student and explain clearly to the student to understand clearly about the lesson before they start learning from the teacher. And the second point, practice, review, skill. It means the teacher review the lesson and make sure the student understand about lesson, and then let them do exercise. Do the task that the teacher give them to do, and we can correct them which point that the student do something wrong or correct. So the next point, stage of lesson plan. Have two kind of stage lesson plan, like such as PP, PPL or POS, P or L. So I will detail each point clearly about kind of a stage of lesson plan. So the first point, lesson plan opener. It means before the teacher comes to the class, the teacher has to welcome to the student who come to learn from the teacher. And then we can say hello, good morning, afternoon or evening, something else. And then we can let students check attendance. Okay. The second point, warm up. Before we start the teaching, we have to warm up, like tell something about the rule in class, or let the student share something that they have learned before our previous unit or lesson, and then let them summarize that what they are understanding about the lesson, and then share the idea to the class. The third point, presentation stage. It means the teacher has to present about the lesson clearly or explain to the student to understand, or make sure they pay attention to the teacher and understand what the teacher is explaining. And the practice stage, after the teacher explains to the student can understand what the teacher explained, and then let the student practice, like do something, do the task that the teacher let them to do, or reading or writing or something, and or can invite them to the whiteboard and present about what they understand or what they know. So the lesson lesson closer. It means the teacher give the conclusion or summarize the lesson, the whole lesson, and then ask them the question. And we can let the students do more homework to improve their language or knowledge. Okay. So the aim of PP or PPL, it means talk about the vocab, a new vocab or new grammar. And so the second point, POS or POL. POS, it means talk about skills like such as listening, writing, reading or speaking. So it have two 6 main points, such as lesson opener. It is said the first one, and warm up is the first one. But pre-task skill, before the teacher comes to teach, the teacher has to explain the student, like review the lesson before start teaching, because let them understand about the lesson that they are learning. They can practice it. And the main task, the main task, it means let the student focus on the lesson and pay attention to the lesson. And then such as grammar, vocab or skill. So the post task, it means talk about the lesson that they have learned today, and then let them summarize or ask them the question and answer. So lesson closer is the same here. So move on to other slide. Understanding about our lesson have 3 main points: before teaching practice, during teaching practice, after teaching practice. So before teaching practice, the teacher has to set the plan before teaching and prepare the handout, document, or before teaching we can check the classroom, the whole classroom, like the chair arrangement, table arrangement, and then we can check the lights, the aircon is ready for teaching or not. During teaching practice, teaching practice, we can let the student practice about handout in the lesson, and like we can have the document, the lesson. Okay, to the next. After teaching practice, it means when after teaching practice, teacher can get experience a lot. After teaching before, because the teacher can know the point that to improve, to be improved, and feel confident than before teaching, teach the student, and can keep the experience for the next teaching to the next class. Okay, thank you for my presentation, and please welcome to me, Dr. Phil, to present about her point is classroom management. Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Tina, that invited me to come here for classroom this point. I am responsible for classroom management. What is classroom management? Classroom management refers to variety of skills and techniques used to keep students organized, orderly, focused, attention on task, and academically productive during your class. So after teaching practicum, I got experience, good points, and points to be improved from my group member, supervisor, homeroom teacher, that who observation and recommend me. So there are 3 points to mention, such as good points, point to be improved, and the last one, resolution of those problems. The first point go to good points using whiteboard. This point very important. While I teaching, I divide 2 parts on the whiteboard, and then I write the title of the lesson, and sometimes question and answer. And one more thing, I write the vocabulary that makes sure my handwriting clear, so students in the classroom can see it clear. About the chair arrangement, this one also important for teaching. So I came early before teaching. I have to know where prepare of the seat or chair, and that following contact, such as group work, part work, and any activity in the classroom. And I contact and gather during I teaching. I look at all the students in the classroom during they are doing an activity or group work, and I always perform my activity to make sure students is never on time. And about the last point, voice control. So if I will be a teacher, I will control the time. Oh, sorry, I will speak loudly and clearer to my students. So finally, classroom management is the most important for the teaching in level. So teachers should manage the class strictly before, during, and finish the class. Because of we always have the same problem when we start to teaching. Okay. Now my point finished. So thank you for paying attention. Now I would like to invite my group member, Mr. Seth, to continue the next point.
So thank you, Ms. Substantive, for inviting me to continue the next point. Now I would like to invite everyone to join my presentation. I'm responsible for methodology. What is methodology? So methodology is the important point for all the teacher. Why I say methodology is the important point? Because methodology is the technique for teacher using to take the student in the class. Methodology, there are 2 points of methodology. The first point is student-centered approach. Student-centered approach, pair work, group work, presentation. Pair work in here is that teacher asks the student to choose the partner, to work in pair, to share their idea to each other, to help each other. Group work. Group work in here is that teacher divide the student in the class to work in the group. This means that group discussing, group presentation. They can share their idea to each other. They can learn from each other. They can help each other. And then presentation. After they work together, they come up to the front and then they present about what they have learned from each other, what they have learned from the teacher give them to do. Student-centered approach is that students are active and teacher is passive. Teacher just only guide the student and explain the student to do the exercise and then give the student the task or the handout to the student, and then the student learn how to underline, learn how to understand, learn how to present by themselves. After that, teacher also can sum up the student to check the student that the student understand about the lesson that the teacher give or not. And then the teacher can explain more to make sure that the student get all the handout or all the lesson that the teacher give them. Student-centered approach, there are also disadvantages. The disadvantages of student-centered approach it means that the class will messy because of the student move their seat from one seat to the other seat, from one place to other place. The class will make noise because of the student, they talk a lot in the class, they do a lot of activity. And also waste the time because of the student, they move from one place to one place. It means that the teacher will maybe waste the time, yes. Now let's talk about STT in here. STT in here is not the abbreviation of the word student-centered approach. It means that student talking time. Like I told you already, student-centered approach, it means student talk more than teacher. The teacher just only guide the student to do the exercise or to do what teacher want them to do. The second point, teacher-centered approach. Teacher-centered approach in here is mean that teacher is active and students are passive in class. Teacher explain the student. Teacher ask student question. Teacher control the student. Explain the student all the lesson that the teacher teach. Teacher must explain student more than student ask teacher. Ask student question. Teacher ask the student the question, and then the student can answer to the teacher. Control the student, like teacher just control the student and the student just sit and listening to the teacher, just sit and look at the teacher, and the teacher explain to the student and talk a lot to the student. In teacher-centered approach, there are also disadvantages. The disadvantages of teacher-centered approach is means student will fall asleep, student will play with their friend, student will talk during the teacher explain, student will be boring because of the teacher just guide them, just explain to them. They just sit because you know that we cannot sit for a long time. Now let's talk about TTT in here. TTT in here is mean that teacher talking time. The teacher talking time is mean teacher talk more than student. Teacher talk a lot. The student just only sit and listen. Now let's go to the next slide. Technique to elixir to the vocabulary. There are 8 points in here. The first point is picture. So picture in here is mean that the teacher can use the picture to show the student about or relate to the vocab that teacher teach the student. Example, the teacher can take the picture to stick on the whiteboard or to show to the student about the meaning of the vocab. The second point, release. Release in here is mean real thing. Real thing is mean that the teacher can use the real thing in the class. It means can use real active material in class. Example, like the teacher teach the student the word table, chair, whiteboard, or the teacher can go to the table and slap to the table and show the student that is the table, that is the chair, and also can point to the whiteboard, that is the whiteboard. This is called realist. Yeah. The third point is mom. Mom in here is in body language. So body language is mean that the teacher do the activity to show the student. Okay, so example, you teach the verb run or walk. You mean you run to show the student. You walk and then you can show the student that is yes. Translation. Translation is mean that the teacher can translate to the student by book or by computer. It means the teacher translate to the student what is that and what is this. Explanation. Explanation is mean definition. So the teacher explain the definition of the vocab. The teacher explain what is that, what is this to the student by explain the definition. Example. Example in here is mean that the teacher must use example to the student. Just only not take the word, but the teacher have to find the example to tell the student. Synonym. Synonym in here is mean that the word or the vocab that have the same meaning but different writing. Yes. Example like student, pupil. Yes. Light and big. So it means that the same meaning but different writing. So synonym in here. Antonym. Antonym is mean that something that opposite from each other, opposite to each other. Example like small and then big. So short and then tall. Yes. So this is called antonym. So now my present is finished. So thank you so much for your attention to my presentation. Mr. Vanchai to continue the next point. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you for Mr. Secretary to invite me to continue the next point about the conclusion. So the conclusion. As you know already about the introduction by Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary mentioned already about the introduction. So the 5 subjects mean that it's really important for all of the trainees that want to be a good teacher. And actually, for the 5 subjects, not only to be a good teacher, but also if we want to be a good translators, if we want to be a good interpreters, we know because of the teachers guide us how to translate, how to interpret. So in the translate, it means that teacher guides us about the way how to translate news, the new and also the sport. This is it different each other. So about the research, also research methodology, it means that if the student or if all the trainees want to continue our degree into the master, we need to know about how to be research. So the 5 subjects in year 4 is really important to us. Yes. So I suggest you to involve with it. So even though in the teaching practicums, I encounter many problems, but I still completed successfully. So it means that I always use and select for the subjects just to apply in the real classroom setting, such as teaching methodologies, apply linguistics, and also foundational education. So about the objective of the teaching practicums are more success and achieve because I have studied and know more about how to prepare the lesson plans, how to arrange the class, yes, and how to manage the student in the class. And more than this, we know about the methodology. We know about the technique, how to take the student following the level from lower level to higher level. So after taking practicums, I got many experience and know about how to prepare the lesson plans. As the Mr. Fontina mentioned already about the lesson plan. So it means that lesson plans is really important for all the teachers. If the teacher doesn't have the lesson plans, so it means that the teacher cannot take everything, cannot take following the time, cannot take following the stage. So the lesson plan is really important and we are achieving this. And for the teaching material and exam material, it is included in the lesson plans. It means that in the lesson plans, it includes the handout or also the extra material to help the students, yes, and to help the teachers understand about the lesson clearly and link to the new lessons. So for the next, our classroom practice. So after we are teaching practicum, so it means that we know about experience, we know about how to take. So we know more that, and we can control our classroom more effectively. So about the next point is control classroom well and give clear instructions. So at the first one, I don't know how to give clear instructions to the students and control the classroom well. But after the teachers, all other subjects guide me to do the lesson plan to prepare the classroom. For example, ask the lecturer to guide us to do the teaching remote. It means that to give us one opportunity to train before teaching practicum. So it means that when we are teaching practicum, have more confidence. So for the last is apply method of teaching English for the real classroom appropriate. So it means that if we know about how to take, we use the method to the real classroom settings, following and in the direct level. So this is for the point. So at the last but not least, I would like to suggest the school to keep teaching practicum for the next generation because of the students need to improve the more confidence for teaching the students. So it means that the teacher need to do more time of the practice, yes, to make sure that he can control, he can well prepare on the lesson plans. So for the next suggestions, I would like to suggest to schools to create more time for teaching practicum for each trainee. So it means that one trainee needs to increase and need to practice more than one time. So to make the trainees improve their knowledge and also can be confident more than this. So for the next, I suggest to the next generation to pay attention for the course. So it means that 5 subjects is really important for us. So if we don't pay attention on the 5 subjects, it means that we lack on the control, the classroom, we lack on the right lesson plan also. So it means that before we are teaching, we need to study about the 5 subjects that the school set to us to study. So I would like to suggest all of us pay attention and follow from the first step to the last step in the course. So for the last suggestions, and recommendations, and we really support this technical exam. So I mean that not only me, but also other trainees. It means that the trainees need to be practiced in the teaching. So I really suggest, if I want to be a good teacher, and actually I want to be a good teacher in the future, so I really support it because of it is to make me sharing about experience from teaching English and sharing about the techniques, how to control the classroom well. So now, so thank you for your attention. So my presentation is finished. So now I would like to invite my group member to come please. So this time is the time of the examiners to ask the question to my group. So I really grateful to the question, and I'm really happy to answer this.
Okay, so thank you, presenter who presented today. Okay. Yes. Okay. First of all, I would like to pay my respect to Vice Director, Parent Study, Dean of English, Supervisor, the examiner, and also audience here, right? That spend time listening to our trainee in order to finish Practicum defense. Okay, in consonant to my point, I have some questions. Okay. This question should not matter to anyone to answer, right? So make sure that if you have idea, you can answer, right? Okay. So my question is that how important is instruction in teaching process? Okay. You got my question? How important is instruction in teaching process? You got it? Why do you think instruction in teaching is really important? Okay, so now you can start by it, okay?
So may I answer first?
Yes.
Yes. So for the questions, so thank you for the questions. So about why I think the instruction is really important for while I'm teaching, because of if we don't have instruction, if you don't have give instruction to the student, so how the student know about the new lesson about my aim to take the student. So it means that the instruction is really important. So before we do something, before we guide to the student, we need to give the instruction to the student first. So this is really important to us. Yes.
Okay, thanks for your question, teacher. So, I think how important are the instruction while teaching. So this is also really important as you are a teacher, and the student want to know about like one course. So if you set up one courses and one course and you do not give the instruction, so how can the student know what course that you are going to teach? So they need to know. As I used to be a student, so I want to know about like a course. So the instruction of each courses. So I want to know where will we go, what will we study. So we would like to know about the instruction well in order to keep our our schedule or our study from step to step in order not go far away from the instruction or the course that the teacher set already in the instruction in the course. So this is
Yes, the instruction is very important for the student or also for the teacher, because the instruction can guide the student or the teacher to know how to do it. As an example, when the teacher gives the student do the exercise but no instruction, how can the student know? Example, give something to do on the whiteboard or on the paper but no instruction, so the student do not understand about how can we do or how can we know about it. So the instruction is very important because it show one step to another step in all the steps. So thank you.
Yes, can I add more? So why the instruction is important? Because of if the teacher have instruction, the teacher can collect the student to join the lesson. Also can collect the student to pay attention with the teacher also.
Thank you, Isabella, for the good question and important question. So, why important for the instruction? So, all the teacher should be know clearly about the instruction before teaching in the classroom. If teacher not clearly about instruction, so all the students don't get knowledge from the teacher. Thank you.
That's all? Okay, so thank you for the friendly answer to my question. Because of the time limit, so I give the valuable time for other examiners to ask you that. Okay, so yes, that's our right.
So first I would like to respect to things, examiners, supervisors, all teachers, trainees, and other audience who have present today. I would express my feelings. You did it well today for this Practicum Folder defense. Okay? So to link from one to another is very good to me, and you did it well for today. And today I come up with 3 questions. It doesn't mean you have to answer all of my questions. Yeah? Or if the 5 of you can answer, you can join this question. Yes. Yeah. So first I would like to ask Mr. Binet. Okay, in lesson plan, do you follow all stages in lesson plan and why?
Thank you for the question. The reason that we follow the lesson plan because the lesson plan can guide us to teach one step to another step and can let us to teach smoothly or fluently. And one more thing, during we are teaching, we can, if we done this lesson plan, can let us occur the problem during we are teaching. So when we use lesson plan, it can avoid us can let us avoid the mistake you are teaching. So, and one more thing, if we want to teach in standard, we have to use lesson plan, because the standard school almost let the teacher use lesson plan to teach students. That's our question.
Thank you so much. All the others, can you share your idea?
Yes, can I say? About the lesson plan, the state of the lesson plan. So the teacher asked that why do we follow? Yes, do we follow the all state of the lesson plan? So and actually the teachers want to follow all the steps of the lesson plan. So sometimes the teacher could not follow all the steps because as the Mr. Pitt mentioned already about classroom management, like on time by checking attendance, and some of instructions by meeting or the student late on time, and so somehow it's the student will be behaving. So it means that the teacher will not control it following the step plan. So, but in conclusion, the teachers really want to following the all step of the lesson.
So according to my school with this, so for the lesson plan, the state in lesson plan, so actually what we said in lesson plan, so all the teachers would like to follow all the state, but because of we have some problem with the time management, also like because teacher sometimes like while the time to teach, and there was a student who come late. So they come up and then interrupt the teacher while he teach. So we need to take time to take the attendance. So also when the teacher teaching, so the student talking, also that is cannot manage well with the time. So that is it means that the teacher cannot follow all the state in the lesson plan. So because of there are some problem that happen during teaching.
Want to share more?
Yes,
Okay, you can.
the teacher, why teacher have to follow the lesson plan state? Because lesson plan state can
My question is, do you follow all stages in lesson plan, and why? If you say yes, or you can say no, and then why?
no.
I do not force you to follow all stages in lesson plan, okay? Yes.
No, because like Mr. Saturn and Mr. Vanchai mentioned already, all the teacher would like to follow the lesson plan state, but some teacher cannot follow all the lesson plan because like the student they will got the problem in the class. The teacher spend that time to show the student, yes, to show their problem, to help them more and more, yes. And that's why the teacher cannot follow all the lesson plan.
So why yes for the following all the steps, all the lesson plan? I think because all the teacher want to all the students get the lesson today that teacher want to teach. So teacher should be following all the steps on the lesson plan.
Okay. So I used to hear, okay, about lacking of time management. So this is point to be improved in your group defense, what I see. And to the resolutions to these problems. So you say that so improve time management. So in which methodologies or in which methods? You just say that improve time management. So or manage time management to be clear, and in what methods? Or you can give me example. It's okay.
For the resolution of the time management, so normally for our teaching, we set up the time like 1 hour for teaching. So the lack of time, it means that we have some problem with the interrupting, like student come late or student talking during teaching and student fighting or something like that, and check attendance. So those problems affect our time. So we need to check back to our time about like we need to inform to all the students to follow the classroom rule in order to achieve like to follow the time management well. So we need to instruct or tell the student about we have only 60 minutes to study. So during this study time, you need to follow the classroom rule. So if you have any question, you can wait until the end of almost the end of the class. You can ask the question at that time is the question time. But during I'm teaching, so no question. But you can wait until almost when I finish explanation, you can ask questions. Yes, and also for the students, like they make problem in class talking, so we need to inform them or remind them about the classroom rules. So that's one part to help us with the time management as well, the solution.
Okay, you can lack of time management because of sometimes the teacher come to class late, and sometimes the student come to class late, the same. And during the teacher teaching, the student do not pay attention to the student. They waste time to play the phone, like play game, play Facebook, and something else. So if the resolution for the teacher to set the rule first, who come late, example come late 15 minutes, the teacher just write absent, put A, yes. And example, one more, if the student low level, and so the teacher has to pay attention to the low level. So if we don't want to waste time too much, we can let the high level to come to have the student and discuss each other to improve forward. Because if we don't let the student to have the low level, the teacher has to waste time on low level. So if we don't want to waste time, we can let high level to have the low level and set the rule to come late or do not pay attention, just punish like minus the score or come late too long, put the absent like that. And thank you.
Take our time in teaching because of some teachers forget to tell the student that they can do the exercise or how many minutes for them to complete the exercise or to do the exercise. The teacher just give them and then teacher let them do not tell them how many minutes that they can finish their exercise. Or sometimes the teacher or the student get interrupted from the outside of the class. Sometimes they got a call from their parent or their brother and sister, or sometimes teacher got a call from parent or brother and sister, and they have to go or they have to talk, and then that can be also time lack of time.
So about the resolution of the classroom management.
Time
time management. So this means that the teacher, as I'm also a teacher trainee, so I need to look at the lesson plan. So following the step, for example, if we are talking or coming in the warm up or lesson closer, so how many minutes that we set for them? So it means that the teacher should following the step and need, or I would like to suggest all the teacher need to have a watch in the hand. So it means that it's better to control the time. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chinese. Okay, so that's all for my questions. Thank you so much, and I would like to invite the examiner to have a question. Thank you.
So let's say quick. I have a few questions. So first one, what does it mean to be unique? Because I read from conclusion here. It said that achieve all the teaching but become effective. So what does it mean effective?
So for these questions, it means that achieve the classroom, achieve the objective of the teaching practicum effectively. So it means that in the teaching practicum, we are achieve all for all and more. More achieve on the practicum. Means that is successfully. Yes, means that successfully on the teaching practicum. So as we are teaching from one step to another step, means that affect to the student and also get feedback for us.
Effectively after teaching practicum, we can know the point that we are not good to be improved, yeah, and can know how to manage the student, the class, yes, and how to know to prepare lesson plan or handout for the student, and especially we can get more experience after we teaching practicum to teach after for the next time. Thank you. Okay, that's all. Audience, do you have any questions? No? Okay. Okay. Only one answer. Only one answer.
Class management. How do you manage yourself to be a professional teacher?
Thank you, sister, for your answer. How to professional teacher. So teacher should have the chair arrangement, everything, the well in the classroom, and teacher sometimes teacher set the rule for the student, and well pair on the whiteboard should prepare how to part to write, one part to write the instruction, what part to write the instruction. So teacher should be clearly about the lesson to teach students. This is the professional teacher.
Okay.
One last.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so
the last answer, okay?
yes. So being a professional teacher, first you need to yourself. You have to be full of education. It mean you need to have a capacity in yourself, like have knowledge, and also you need to have skill, more skill with the teaching. And the next is about like dress up. So being a professional, you need to dress up, uniform, look professional, and also well prepared with the material for teaching. So this is the way how to describe about the professional teacher.
So to the last, I would like to thank you, Dean, Vice Directors, examiners, supervisors, and also the audience in present. Yes, paying attention with my group presentation. So thank you.
Please,